It's 1 in the afternoon on a Monday in May. A nor'easter is hammering the Norfolk waterfront. Wives are holding children against their hips. Some are holding flowers. They've been told a submarine is coming home today. That submarine has been sitting on the bottom of the Atlantic for 5 days, and the United States Navy already knows. USS Scorpion, SSN 589. A skipjack-class nuclear attack submarine. 251 feet of black steel powered by an S-5W reactor. Commissioned in 1960. 8 officers, 75 enlisted. 99 men aboard when she was lost. Her commanding officer was Commander Francis Slattery. He'd taken command only the previous October. He was 36 years old. Inside the fleet, Scorpion had a different name. The crews called her Scrap Iron. She leaked oil. She leaked seawater. Her trash disposal unit had flooded the boat before. She'd been due in dry dock for an overhaul. The Navy postponed it and sent her to the Mediterranean instead. She left Norfolk in February 1968 for a 3-month deployment with the 6th Fleet. By mid-May, she was finished. On the 16th, she pulled into Naval Station Rota in Spain for a final stop before heading home. 2 men got off at Rota, one for a family emergency, one for a medical reason. Their names are still classified. They walked down the gangway into the Spanish sun. They were the last 2 human beings to ever step off the deck of USS Scorpion alive. Scorpion was supposed to come straight home. Instead, Commsublant diverted her. A Soviet flotilla, submarines, a research ship, a guided missile destroyer, was operating southwest of the Azores. The Navy wanted eyes on them. On the night of the 20th, Scorpion tried for hours to raise Rota by radio. The signal wouldn't punch through. She finally got through to a Navy station in Greece, which relayed her message to Norfolk. She reported a steady 15 knots, depth 350 feet, closing on the Soviet submarine K-135 to begin surveillance. Then she went silent. That was her last message. The full text is still classified top secret today. What happened over the next 36 hours has never been settled. The Navy has investigated the Scorpion 4 times. They still don't agree. What they do know is this. At 1844 GMT on the 22nd of May, a network of underwater listening posts called SOSUS recorded a sound. Then another half a second later. Then a longer cascade. 91 seconds. 19 separate signatures that acoustic engineers would later describe as the sound of a submarine being torn apart and falling through 11,000 feet of black water. Some analysts think a torpedo battery overheated and detonated a Mark 37 in the tube. Some think the trash disposal unit flooded the boat and seawater shorted the main battery. Some think hydrogen gas built up during a battery charge and ignited from a single spark. A few still think a Soviet submarine fired first. Whatever the first sound was, the second one was the pressure hull collapsing. After that, there was nothing left to hear. In Norfolk, the families had been told the boat was due at 1300 hours on Monday, the 27th. They'd been told this on the 24th, 3 days after the explosion. Nobody at Pier 22 knew anything had gone wrong. Wives planned dinner. Children pulled out the suits they'd been told to wear. A wife in Virginia Beach circled the date in red on the kitchen calendar. But in the Commsublant message center, something had already changed. A radio man named Ken Larbas later remembered the morning of the 27th. Captains and admirals walking into the watch center, men who had never set foot in the room in 2.5 years. He said they suspended all the saluting. They just wanted to know if anyone, anywhere, had heard anything from Scorpion. The check-in they were waiting for was called Check 24. Radio man Mike Hannon had been waiting for it since his watch began. It never came. By noon on the 27th, the storm was full force. The wives were soaked through. The children had stopped asking questions. Several dozen family members stood at the foot of Pier 22, watching the empty mouth of the harbor. 1 o'clock came and went. No submarine. No periscope. Nothing. Somewhere on that pier, a Navy chaplain started walking toward them. He had no information he was allowed to give. The submiss alert, the formal declaration that a submarine was missing, wouldn't be issued for another 2 hours. Officially, Scorpion was still expected. Officially, the men were still alive. Years later, a flag officer who watched it happen told an interviewer he was horrified the Navy had let the families come down to the pier at all. "I'm horrified that they let the dependents to come down at the time the submarine was supposed to come in. It bothers me a great deal." Radio man Hannon, the one who'd been waiting for Check 24, gave an interview 50 years later. He said the sight of those women on the pier had haunted him every day of his life since. It took the United States Navy 5 months and 80 sweeps of a towed camera sled to find her. The research ship Mizar, the same vessel that had located the lost USS Thresher 5 years earlier, pulled a sled 3 miles long behind her, taking pictures of the seafloor frame by frame. They processed about 1,400 frames every night. They examined more than 200,000 images in all. On the 75th sweep, on the 28th of October, they found Scorpion's bow section, sitting upright on the sand at 9,800 feet, 400 miles southwest of the Azores. The hull was in 3 pieces. The sail had been torn off. The stern section had telescoped into the engine room. The propeller shaft was broken inboard, the prop itself missing a single blade. In 1969, the Court of Inquiry put it on paper. The certain cause of the loss of the Scorpion cannot be ascertained from any evidence now available. That sentence has not changed in 58 years. 99 families never got an answer. They got a bronze plaque. They got a chaplain. They got a folded flag at an empty grave. USS Scorpion lies under nearly 10,000 feet of salt water. The Navy says her reactor is stable. The 2 nuclear torpedoes she was carrying are still down there too. No one has visited the site since 1986. What maritime disaster should we uncover next? Tell us in the comments. Follow Beyond the Fog for more lost ships, lost crews, and the questions the ocean refuses to answer.